Welcome to Familiar Territory, an anime podcast hosted by two white dudes who've been friends for over 15 years. Here we talk about the history and influence of anime, as well as review anime new and old. So grab your talking cap and transform into some comfy clothes as we step into a familiar territory. My name is Grant.
And I'm Brantley. Heads up, spoilers on the way. Check the description, see if you're safe to listen.
Alright, Grant. I want to talk to you about marshmallows.
You have done this gag, I think.
No? What? No.
Yeah,
There's no way.
I think maybe you did it with
No, you're
chips.
thinking I did it with chips. That's different. I'm doing it with marshmallow. So, I think it's kind of fascinating. I was thinking about this. Because when it comes to food, they're like the most one-note thing you can get. But, it's a completely uniform food. The taste and the texture is 100% the same thing, no matter where you're biting into it. I don't know who you get it from. Like, we have marshmallows, solved, right? But, if you fuck with a marshmallow, that's where it gets interesting, right? You melt it, you roast it, you spread it, because some people do marshmallow spread. And, that's where, sorry, I'm putting another one on it now. I think it becomes apparent that the engineering of it and the original design required something we take for granted, right? The solving part had to happen. There had to be a solver, right? I think this the stories of girls who couldn't be magicians is a marshmallow. The title tells you exactly what you should expect, which is that obviously they're gonna learn how to use magic, because it's an ironic thing or whatever. But the way that they cook the marshmallow, that's where it gets interesting. Super simple concept, but the ways that they take that even just a little bit further. There's this fluffy visual design. You have a moral messaging that sort of crisps up the edges, and you can kind of chew on it for a while after you're done. I think that's why the show is a marshmallow. And I like marshmallows. So
I gotta be honest, that was a fucking terrible bit. I love the idea that you're like, hey, I'm going to open up this podcast. It's been months since we've done one. I'm gonna talk with my mouth full, which a lot of people genuinely don't like. And I'm going to try and give you my thesis statement, which you can barely understand.
Well, here's my thought. The only thing that people would like less than that is just having a paragraph read at them.
No, I don't disagree. I think that because it's so shitty, it's pretty funny.
Yes.
But they have to get through 2.5 minutes of that before they get to the shows. What? Perfect.
So are we
Great.
Keeping it?
We can keep it. I think we can keep it.
Yay! All right.
But if
How many
someone
calories
comments
of
this
marshmallows
was
did I just eat?
fucking ass, you're gonna give me $1 million.
Okay. Let's see. I ate a little more than one serving size of marshmallows, which is more than 100 calories. I'm gonna have to move these so I don't instinctively start eating them again while the review's going on. Hi, everybody. So we watched a show. As I said, the stories of girls who couldn't be magicians, or it may be translated differently elsewhere. Japanese title being Maho Tsukai ni Narinakata Onanoko no Hanashi. This was one of three, believe it or not, one of three magical girl shows that we were kind of between from this one season of airing anime. And I didn't think this was going to be the one that we picked and reviewed. There was also Magie Lumiere, which is very popular, adapted from a manga. There's also Acro Trip. That one, looked pretty decent. And then there was this. And this one, the stories of girls who couldn't be magicians, was the lowest rated on my anime list of the three. But I heard some good things about it. There's a Tumblr blogger I follow named Bunny Majo. shouts out, you don't listen to this, but I follow you. And she'd said some good things about it, and so I was like, okay, cool, let's try it. And I don't even remember if we tried this one before Magia Lumiere or after, but we did try Magia Lumiere, and it was fine, but it just, something didn't hook. And for whatever reason, this one did. And we finished it, and now we're here. So
we're here. We did it.
Yeah.
We did what we set out to do, which is do a podcast.
Well, that part's not done yet. Some kind of terrible accident could happen before we finish recording.
So yeah, let me talk to you about this show. So this show, do you know how the show got made?
All I know is that it was originally a novel, and it was adapted by J.C. Staff.
So it was a web novel, but it was submitted to a thing called Project Anima, which is a collaboration between a couple different folks to do story submissions to make into an anime. And this won the Another World / fantasy category.
Okay.
And it was supposed to come out in 2001, and it didn't come out until October 2004. Another show that got turned into an anime from the same little program was Sakugan, which is out, and it did air in the year that it was supposed to come out in 2021. So we can blame JD Staff for that. Because the person that made Sakugan was Satellite, and they just do that. They succeeded where JD Staff failed.
JC Staff.
No, I fuck off. But
No,
yeah,
sorry.
no, I'm sure there was more to it. Obviously, I'm just making shit up.
So what, it took almost 20 years? Is that what you're telling me? That they agreed to this way back in the early 2000s?
I didn't say 20 years. I said 2021.
Oh, I heard. For some reason, I heard 2001 and 2004.
Did I might have said 2001. And it was supposed to come out in 2001, and it didn't come out until October 2004. A couple years delayed, and it was basically a story submission to be turned into an anime, and it won.
Wow!
So good for Yuzuki Akasaka, who is the writer.
Yeah,
and
congrats.
I believe that is all they've done. So good for you.
Well, I hope they do more. Yeah,
I do
hope
too.
That's not discouraging. It's a little bit parallel to the contents of the show, where I guess breaching a little bit into our plot summary, the main character, Kurumi Mirai, is top of her class and wants to study magic, and yet somehow does not make it into the Magumi program, which would disciplinarily be where you get to study magic. And instead, she only gets accepted into the standard program. And so here we have a case where it's like, hey, you won, except you're not getting what you wanted right away. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's some fun little things about this. So the other fun thing about this show is some of the staff. So we know who the writer is. There are 2 directors for this show. Two. There's Takashi Watanabe and Masato Matsune. So we'll talk with the least prolific of the 2. Masato Matsune is mostly a storyboard for openings. That's what he does the most of, where he'll, get the openings out. But he has been an assistant director on a couple different shows. So he is the assistant director over Alice in Borderland, which came out 2014 in OVA. But the fun storyboard he did that is close to our heart is he did a Magical Girl Raising Project as the storyboard guy. So, got a little connection back to our some of our roots here.
Yeah. Interesting. Definitely a different kind of project here.
And this was the first time. Well, it's not the first time he's been a director. It was one of his 3 directors. So he has the girls who can be magicians. He did something called Chaos Dragon, which I don't know much about. And he also did Wicross Diva Alive.
Oh, which we watched.
So,
well, we watched one episode of the original Wicross and then backed out. But
yeah, not great. So that's one of the directors. You know, so got a little connection. But the other guy, Takashi Watanabe, was the storyboard director for the OVA for Legend of the Galactic Heroes and Death Note.
Okay, so that's very similar to what this is, clearly.
And Slayers. And Slayers Try. And he was the director of Shakugen no Shana as well, which is not something I know a lot about, but I know people do know it. So this guy's done a lot. He's been in the game for a while, for like 40 years. But he did a lot of Slayers.
Slayers makes sense for this.
I agree.
It's still, obviously, this is much like more saccharine in tone. But there's something about maybe the comedic ratio that makes sense. So wow. Regarding the first director, as soon as you said Magical Girl, I was like, it's Raising Project, isn't it?
It's always Raising Project. It's either Raising Project or Milky Homes. So,
dude, I swear to God, Magical Girl Raising Project is our fucking Aquarion. It's just like somehow it's everywhere. Like, clearly it can't be actually everywhere because not everyone's seen it. Not everyone cares about it, but somehow we keep running into it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's out there. It exists. The character designer for the show, which is a good one, also did Penguin Drum, which I know a lot of people like.
God, yeah, that makes sense. We need to watch Penguin Drum at some point, by the way.
We do. I hear it's good.
Thank you for making the pumpkin pants on Lemonade. It's so good.
Yeah, perfect. So that's Lily Hoshino. She does quite a bit of some stuff. But the other fun fact about this is one of the people that performed the opening songs was Puffy Amiyumi.
Oh!
So that's fun.
Yay!
It's the same people, they had the show on Cartoon Network. And they do a lot of theme song performance, obviously. It's not like their big hit was the Teen Titans opening. But it is kind of fun to have have them come back for this. So that's some fun. Those are some fun people that are a part of this show. So that's just what I wanted to do. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the show.
Do you want to give us a plot summary?
Yes, but I also want you to know that nobody has any of these characters favorited on my anime list except for Maki. Maki has one. One person saw this show and was like, I need to favorite this girl, this ride or die. She's great.
Okay,
so
that's funny. That it would be Maki, sure, appropriate. But I'm calling bullshit.
Okay.
Because I have one of these characters on my favorites.
Oh, is it the owl?
No, it's Minami.
Wait. Minami has two. Has two.
And I'm one of them.
You're one of them. That's good.
If there's someone out there, if you're listening to this, hi. Please don't try to contact me. I'm too busy.
So, this show, I agree with you, is kind of like that Marshmallow, right? It is the same story you've heard a million times about a magic school. You have a girl who wants to really be a magician or a wizard or whatever, and can't do magic, but is somehow brought into the school anyway. And she rises through the challenges, meets all the funky creatures that are her classmates to help her out. And I use that as a very deliberate way to describe her classmates. And so it's fun. I think that the themes are good, the animation is cute, the character designs are good. I have some issues with some of the pacing, but we can talk about that as we go on.
Yeah, that's actually the first bullet point I have in my notes, and so we will. Yeah, let's get to that. But
so the first episode is standard. Welcome to the school. Here's all the quirky characters you're going to be hanging out with, and a monster. You know, just like the last show we did, which was, I believe, Legend of the Seven Spellblades. Same premise. Hang out, fight a monster day one. And the person that comes in to swoop in and save the day during this time is not the main characters. It is a little girl character who comes in, does a sick-ass magic attack, and turns out that this little girl is their professor, who is Brantley's favorite character from this show, is Minami Suzuki. And she's like, hey, y'all, you bitches ready to learn magic? And all of them are like, what? But this isn't the magic class. I thought the first episode was strong.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a really good way of introducing the characters. We get to see Kurumi and Maki, which kind of have the closest relationship for those two I can clock is like Utena and
Wakaba,
where it's like, yeah, they're fun, they're friends. Maki's really Wakaba coded.
Mm-hmm. Extremely so. Yeah, she's a supportive best friend, but she doesn't have an arc where she gets extremely envious and then they battle the death with swords.
Yeah. Kurumi is not Utena coded. I liked their relationship. I thought it was fun. And then you get the rival character, which is Yuzu Adel. And Yuzu Adel is a rich girl who was supposed to be a wizard, and turns out she also fucked up. There's also her two friends, which are Limon, whose last name is Juicy. So her name is Juicy Limon.
And can you please tell me the name of the other character, her other friend?
Is Mikana Fruity.
Fruity.
So very silly. Their character arc is, wow, if Yuzu is going to date some other girl, who are we gonna date? And then they look at each other and they go, oh fuck, we can date each other. Spoiler alert for their character arcs. They're not super important. They exist to tell everyone how great Yuzu is, despite the fact that she's not going to be a magician. And then they get swept away for a little bit, and they come back, and then profess their love for each other. Mm-hmm. Subtextually, let's be
really what it comes around to is just more like, hey, I'm game.
Yeah. Oh shit! I think I locked one of my cats in the bathroom.
Okay, well, you go take care of that.
I did not leave her in the bathroom. She was doing other things, and I thought she was in the bathroom. But when I opened the door, she ran in because that's where her food is.
I see.
But anyway,
the good news is, while you were gone, I was scrolling through the character list, and I found out there's one other person who does have a favorite, just one, and that is the Magic Research Club president.
That makes sense. So we'll get to that. So first episode sets the stage. You get to see all the quirky characters. Second episode, we get too many characters. So you went from having a core group of people, and you've seen these shows before, you're like, I can get all of these people. I know exactly what they're all about. And then the next episode comes up, and you're like, holy shit, there's so many people, and I don't give a shit about any of them.
Damn, what is it? Plays a school or something?
It reminds me a lot of My Hero Academia, except instead of having a bazillion episodes to give all of these characters really boring character arcs, it just says like, hey, this guy, he wants to sing, and he's gonna sing all the fucking time. This girl is a good cook, and she's gonna cook you some good shit. And that is basically all of the side characters. There is a guy who really likes fashion, and he's a little bit more important than the rest of them, because this show really wanted you to notice that everyone looks really good.
Yeah, there's no illusion of grandeur here and how the side characters contribute to the story, but they're well constructed as boomerangs.
Yes.
They have one sort of linear concept that defines them, and then at some point it takes a little turn, and that's it.
I will say the characters' names that we get, some of the side characters are Mike Show, who wants to be a radio DJ. There's Doc Paparotti, who wants to be the singer. And then there's Tetsuo Railway, who likes trains.
Fucking prophetic. These Phoenix Wright-ass names. By the way, I've started eating more marshmallows. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
And so you get to introduce all these critters, as I described them, because they are just cryptids. They don't even give a shit that this 10-year-old girl is like, I'm going to teach y'all how to do magic, because all of them are just not about that life. They're just like, hey, I'm here to do this shit.
They are the most special interested class. I mean that affectionately as possible.
So we get the next episode. This is the standard, hey, go join a club. And Kurumi is like, oh, I'll go join the Magic Research Club. And then she is told that you have to be an elite Magumi student, which are the wizards of the school, to join. And then she finds something that's close to it, and she joins, and it's just two nerds who are trying to solve the secrets of the school. If you really liked the first chapter of Kingdom Hearts 2, where you're going around solving all these mysteries, that's just them. That's all they do. They go around, they're like, hey, I heard this place is a little fucked up. And they're like, all right, let's go see what it is. And it's a little fucked up.
Yeah, they got their little divining rods. They're like, whoa, it's the piano from Mario 64.
And it eats them.
No, they live. It's fine.
No, but they do not have names. They are not given names. They are just the president and the vice president. And honestly, I think that once you have that title, I think that should legally be your name until you no longer have that title.
And then when you're done with it, you have to figure out a different name. You don't get the old one back. Yeah,
it can't go back. So that's a fun episode. I like the magic. It's Magic Research Club and then the Magical Research Club, because they're not studying magic. They're magically studying things. It's silly.
Hey, now that Joe Biden is not president anymore, what name should he have since he's not president? He has to get a new name. What's his name?
I think he can take Joey, and he should go by what I have called him for the past 4 years. Joey B. That's his full God-given name. No last name. Joey B.
No middle name.
That's it. No middle name.
Nuance.
Joey B is one name. So you get the next episode where we kind of get a hint at the overarching theme of this show. And boy, howdy, taking 3 episodes to get even close to having a plot problem is odd to me. Not that it doesn't need to go fast, but you get introduced to all of these characters. Most of them do not matter. And it takes you up until episode 4 before you start seeing an overarching plot. And essentially, during this time, Minami is like, hey guys, I'm going to teach you magic. Also, did you know that magic isn't real? It is real, but also only certain people can do it because of systemic problems. And that's that episode. That episode is I'm gonna eat potatoes, and it's pretty good.
It is.
You have anything to say about it? Because I will say that while I did pay attention, I didn't pay as much attention as Brantley.
I'll just mention that you might be thinking, oh, well, it sounds like you're just describing an episodic show that eventually gets a continuity, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not really that. It always has a continuity going. It's just that, as Grant mentioned, it gets there pretty slowly. Like, I'm someone who has a lot of patience for things like this, but the way that it differs from something like Precure, for example, is that in those cases you have like the same kind of thing happening every time, but it's
Precure kicks Pissard in the face in episode 1.
Yeah.
Jane Precure kicks Pissard. That is really hard to say. That's supposed to be a quick, snappy joke, and I just fumbled all over my words, and it became a fucking mess.
That's the power of Pissard. But like in this, you have like the main objective, which is use magic, and Kurumi is going to fail at that, like for like what 6 episodes straight before eventually she starts getting even close to somewhere. And so it's not as if it's just like darting around to different things and then finds its identity. It knows what it wants to do. It's just not in a hurry at all. The having the different the 7 wonders of the school kind of becomes like the episodic thing, where as Kurumi is not progressing, they're at least finding those, and you're getting hints about more of the world and how things work, or you'll get flashbacks and things like that. But yeah, I can just affirm that it is it's easy going, and partly for a reason. It thematically wants to, but also it may test your patience quite a bit, average viewer.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you normies wanting a show that doesn't fucking take forever to get to something.
What?
Average viewers.
I'm like
Brantley.
Yeah, I don't think we even have average viewers. I think anybody who listens to this has to be somehow divergent off that path.
Our most watched episode is about a movie that no one else reviewed, and that's why people love it. So the next episode is a race, and they're like, hey, did you know that everyone can participate in this race? And so the standard class is like, fuck yeah, let's do this, let's go do a race. And then they give the wizards magic segways, and they have to run. And so it's a, hey, look, even if you suck, it's the story of the Australian speed skater where everyone fell at the end and it allowed him to win gold, because that's exactly what happens. It kind of shows Yuzu becoming better at this magic that what's her name, Minami is teaching, and you see her sort of developing a little bit more of a closer relationship to Kurumi. This episode was fun. I liked it. You got to see the weirdos of the standard class a little bit more, because it was mostly just them, and they got to interact a little bit, and that was fun. I forgot to mention there is the head of the school. His name is Northern, which sounds like a stupid name because it is, but that's fine. What's funny is like North doesn't sound like a stupid name. I think giving yourself an adjective as a name can be, well, I guess there's fruity, so I guess it's standard for this world. But Northern has a capybara. That's all you need to know about him at this moment. So you get some fun interactions with the characters. I thought this was the first episode I watched where I'm like, that wasn't the first episode. This was where I was like, oh, okay, I can feel this a little bit more. I started to really like it a little bit better. Yeah,
I think it finds its feet here. It does a better job of taking all these characters and kind of bonding them. It's not like they have like, really great chemistry necessarily, but just that everyone and their little bits kind of like feel like they're locking into place better. It's a little tighter. And the whole race schematic of the episode, I think gives it some more energy, right? Like there's something that you're clearly working towards, that involves everybody, and not just like, say, Kurumi being invested in trying to learn how to use magic out of one of Minami's sort of esoteric lessons.
Yes.
Yeah, I also something two things I want to mention on this episode. One, it has a great title in at least the way it was translated in the sub that we watched. It says, "I'll walk my butt off in this cross country race." So, that's a great episode title.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
This show, its title and its episode titles are always exactly what you're gonna get. Last one, as Grant said, is "I'm gonna eat potatoes." This one is "I'll walk my butt off in this cross country race." And
Yep.
boy howdy, that's exactly it.
And guess what? The next one is everybody but us went home for the holidays. It's just like that chapter in everyone's favorite Magic School book, Harry Potter, which doesn't have any problems whatsoever. So in this one, Kurumi is staying.
Sorry,
fucking hell.
My bad. I hate to combo break you, but I have to mention this here because it's really prevalent in this in the race episode. Something that's odd that I find whenever they have writing in this show, it's written in like English lettering, yet it is still Japanese. Even when it's like a loan word, it's written out phonetically. So for example, like on the race map, they'll have Hyotan-ko, which is like, that they say, oh, it's Lake Gordy, but instead of having like having kanji or even like just like katakana or hiragana to phonetically spell it out in Japanese characters, it's written with English lettering, but still phonetically spelled out, which gets weird when it's like you'll see a checkpoint on the map, and so it's written as checkpointo, and that's not like it's not Japanese characters, in here katakana like you'd expect. It is written out in English, not as checkpoint, as checkpointo. And that's how I think, from what I recall, basically all the writing is like that. Like on their papers and stuff like that. I don't think it was redone part of the sub either. If so, the font, lettering and stuff is too like precise, and it's for example, when it's on the map or it's on paper, it matches that. And of course, like if it was supposed to be part of the translation job, then something like checkpointo would have become checkpoint. So I don't know. I just found an interesting sort of hybrid that they're going for. I'm curious as to like whether that was a decision or just sort of a coincidence or something that just sort of spur of the moment happened in development of the show, but I don't know. I know so little about how that could happen that I had to mention it. And now we can move on.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah, the next episode, Sadness. Everyone went home, but us went home for the holidays, where we get to see our two failed girls, Yuzu and Kurumi, decide to try and make the best of being home for the holidays. Also, during this time, Minami disappears, and the cat that is the school nurse becomes their teacher.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
it's a relatable experience to the viewer,
Yeah, I have a lot of times where cats come into my life and just fuck everything up. Nope.
Was that one of them just now?
Yeah, she's trying to get on the desk, and I don't want her to accidentally stop the recording.
Right on cue.
Get out. So this is an episode where we get a little bit closer to like, hey, what's the deal with all these students not having magic? We get a couple more pushes and focuses into that, and then we also get like, hey, why are the wizards in this school treated like royalty when they can do magic, but like you have other students? It's a pretty good episode. I'm sure everyone in academia has felt something like that, whether it's like athletes or the honors colleges or CGT majors who get all of these incredible benefits.
Yeah. If I meet one of those, I'll let you know.
But it's a good episode. I really liked it. It's starting to get into the meat and potatoes of this show, which is funny because I'm gonna eat potatoes was the first time we started talking about this.
Yeah. This is also they slimmed down the cast a great deal, and that
because everyone went home.
Yeah, and that works to their advantage.
I agree. This time you get to see a lot of Kurumi and Yuzu hanging out. The fashion guy stays, I believe. And so does the magical research club presidents. And it makes this cast go from being a this My Hero Academia to more of a manageable Little Witch Academia cast.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, there's like 6 people we have to track, and they're all going to hang out with each other all the time.
Yeah. If by this point you weren't sure whether or not Yuzu was going to be sort of constituted as the second banana of the show, then this is the point where it becomes extremely clear. By the way, is this also the episode where Aniku gets mentioned or brought in because he's coming from the Magabi program down to the standard program?
I think so. If it's not this one, it's the other one with the next holiday episode, which is Happy Holidays, except I'm feeling sad.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we get one of the big fancy wizard guys. What was his name?
Which one are you thinking of? The one with red hair?
Yeah, Kyo.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kyo comes down. He is the fashion guy's brother. They're twins, and he now is in the regular class, and that's a really fun character arc. I really like that perspective of being at the top of it and then going into the dredges of the regulars. Ugh, regular people. Gross. And they have a good time helping out the Magical Research Club. And during this time, Kurumi's also kind of going through this character arc where she thinks that maybe she shouldn't be a wizard. If she's not supposed to be a wizard, maybe she isn't. It's fine. I could have done without that arc. I thought it was a little tacked on, and it doesn't really add to her character near the end.
I differ in that. I like that Kurumi has a point in time. Actually, it's a pretty lengthy part of this where she's questioning whether or not magic is for her. I think that there's a lot of pressure on students these days to be really excellent at something. Partly because the job market sucks ass. And even if you're good at something, sometimes you're expected to be great at something and also 5 years deep in it before you can get a job in it. But also just like there's a social pressure that you're, like you understand sort of the implications of what it means to be good at something, right? You have more visibility than ever of who's the best at things. And so that puts a damper on it. At some point, even people who have, really excellent skills or interests, might feel like it's easier to just quit while, before it the disappointment hits, right? And so I like that facet of her character. I also think that it helps her relationship with Yuzu upcoming, because Yuzu then sort of, she as someone who's been so narrow-mindedly set on this, she has to sort of reframe why she wants to be a magician, It's not just about, like, I'm going to do this because it's the thing to do, and, I'm a model student and that sort of thing. It's like seeing someone like Kurumi back out is like, whoa, hold on, like, you can't go quitting on me. Like, you're the only other person here who's been kind of my rival in this, or my magic buddy, and so it creates an interesting sort of push and pull, I think. Yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking though. So again, I am saying this from the perspective of we're going from plain to sauce, right?
That's fair.
Put some ketchup on that bad boy. Put some citrus zest on that bad girl.
I think what gets me about this arc is that we don't really get a whole lot of Kurumi being I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm so good at everything and I've never felt this at all. But no, I'm just kidding. I do relate to it on that aspect. I just think that with how the show continues after this, I felt like I would have either wanted it to happen more or happen more intense quicker.
Yeah.
I think that it happens and then it's over.
Kind of comes back around to a pacing problem, I think.
Yes. So, the next episode is, I think, the last part of this like 3-part winter arc, where Kurumi and Yuzu,
make it out. What?
God, I wish. I would have made this show a 10 out of 10.
Would have stepped it up at least a whole point, probably.
Yeah, for sure. We get a little bit more of seeing Kurumi and Yuzu start to solve this mystery of where their teacher went, which is also one of the weird things because you would think that would be more important earlier, but they're just kind of like, she's a wizard. She's probably off doing wizard shit.
She could shoot laser beams. She's just fine, right?
Yeah, but she's trapped in a cage. And so they talk a little bit more about ancient magic. They get to see a little bit more problems with the head of the Megami class, who sucks, but he has a capybara, so like he can get away with anything, really. And then we get the next episode where Kurumi and Yuzu once again get a chance to take the magic test.
Yeah. And
Northern, at this point, starts to go again, like he starts to try and suppress this ancient magic, because during this whole winter arc, the magical research club and them are starting to find out that there's so many pockets of this ancient magic that are being held back that is limiting how many people can do magic.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure.
We're coming to the realization that this world is filled with magic, and it's odd that sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less.
Yes.
I wonder what that could be about. Someone call Captain Planet. We need to figure this out.
Yeah, he's gonna come in and die again.
Hell yeah.
So we get a couple more, and that's kind of like kicks off the final arc of the show. So you get this big push to push ancient magic back onto the people of the world. You find out that Northern has been secretly suppressing this so he can only give out magic to a select few people. And it really cements the idea of this show. And I wish it would have happened a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole magic sucking premise, like just literal extraction, right, from the working class students, it is the right thing to do with this kind of plot, in my opinion, right? Like, for once, it is the thing that is set up, but it's not so predictable that you just know that it's going to happen, right? Because you expect, like, I don't know, they wouldn't go for that in this kind of show. It's a little too lighthearted, a little too fluffy for that, right? But no, they go for it. But they go for it really late. There is some very minor telegraphing, right? Just in the sense that it's like they're building the world in a way that is, kind of strange or illogical, and then the irrational parts of it finally fit into place once you understand that knowledge and information has been omitted, right? But it's not as if any of that is taking center stage in these earlier episodes, right? It's a very slow boil, like almost not even a simmer up to now, and then finally they just kind of reveal it. Oh yeah, by the way, this is happening. So, if you're like me and you're just happy that it's there at all, then that will probably rectify a lot of it in sort of a retroactive way. But yeah, I'll admit, like, it definitely. I would have liked if it occurred earlier, or if there's a few more hints dropped around that there is something darker to the plot.
No, I agree. I think that is one of the biggest problems I have with this show. When you only get so much time, you can't breathe. You can't take the time to do 3 episodes about goofing off. You can't, the same thing happened in Yuki Yuna. The same thing happens in in I think the 3rd season of Sunfo Gear. And then you have things like Reivu Starlight, where it's like, hey, we have 12 episodes. Let's go, 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 go. And I feel like that is a little bit more
palatable,
cohesive.
Cohesive is a good word for it.
But if you have the 24 episodes, then you can do that. You can take the time to goof off. You can take the time to have your characters run a cross-country race, and do a little bit more of those small, minor character building moments.
Yeah, it's too bad that 24 episodes is not cheap.
No, it's not. It's actually twice as much as 12 episodes.
Damn,
believe it or not.
Are you for real?
Quick maths, dude.
Wow. What was the thing that we've said before? One of us can't do math and one of us can't do words.
I was the one that couldn't do math because I counted the Zombieland Saga girls wrong. You're the one that can't do words, which is not true because I get words wrong all the time. The answer is we're both idiots.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had your your comeuppance arc right now by doing quick maths. So
yeah.
See, this is the real slow burn, is people watching 63 episodes of familiar territory, including the original watch-alongs, to eventually find that Grant does some great math on the spot.
That's true.
Something else I wanted to mention too on episode structure and why the pacing, it feels so weird with this. I do think that the 7 wonders of the school makes this tough because it sort of limits how fast they can go. If they don't want to try to squeeze 2 different wonders into one episode, then it's requiring that the fastest they can go to, say, find all the wonders of the school, they would get halfway through the season, right? Spending 1 episode on each of them. Eventually, they do just do 2 in 1, right? And they still are barely getting done with that portion of it by the halfway point. So I do think that the 7 Wonders plot has a detrimental effect from going from the novelization version to the animated version. It sort of puts an upper limit on how fast they can be moving through the plot. Unless they would do something drastic, like entirely skip one of the wonders, or mention it offhand or something like that, or try to start cramming 2 into 1 episode more often. I think that probably would have felt worse. But it definitely, I do think that it on a technical level causes problems. Yeah.
That's why you never give, you pretend numbers don't exist in your fictional media. You just say, we're going to do the wonders of the world.
Yeah.
How many wonders? And it's I don't know. Depends.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Everybody, if you're now that's a common trope in writing, and I don't think we necessarily have to throw that out. I'm sorry, but it's time to let go. It's time to leave numbers behind, everyone. If you were to say, well, I think that 7 MacGuffins is just fine. Well, let's have an ego check there, buddy. Okay?
Yeah, you just have them. You have MacGuffins, vague ass MacGuffins. Let's get back to talking about this show. So, the last 3 episodes are essentially the regular students trying to stop this evil thing, and then a cultural festival to show how happy they are that they succeeded.
Let's go back to eating more film.
I also I forgot that there is a sister character who can turn into a dog.
Oh, you didn't forget. She just doesn't get...
I did.
She doesn't get confirmed as her sister until about this point anyway.
Yeah, there's this pink-haired girl who can turn into a dog who's helping? It's very unclear.
And her name is Madoka.
And so she goes around talking to the cat to figure out what's going on. And I gotta be honest, I don't know what her purpose was. What was she trying to do?
I just get the impression that she's an upper level student or a graduate or something who's hanging around and kind of watching over her sister. I don't think she's employed there, but I guess they're just tight. I'll be honest, I don't really know either. It's not apparent that she's staff or anything, but she does just get to hang out with staff and only hangs out with staff.
And no one else knows she's around because she disguises as a dog most of the time.
Yeah, including Kurumi. Kurumi hardly talks about her.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if this is something that is purely meant to be backloaded later. Because something does occur at the end of the season that involves her, and it feels just as abrupt and unexplained as everything else.
Yeah, it's wild. And they do end the show with a sequel bait.
Yep.
They want a season 2, or they want you to read the book.
Might just have to take a few more years.
Yeah, so we don't know much about it, but overall it was a good story about
blowing up a machine.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I can think of.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about the story.
Alrighty, well then how about we start talking about some other things. Do you have any other thoughts you wanted to share on the characters at all?
They're fine. Oh, I forgot. There's a gay boy.
Yeah, Aniku.
There's Anik, who is a magic man who gets sent to the regular class, and he loves Kyo, and it's very blatant.
Mm-hmm. He's all blushy about it.
Yeah.
Yuzu is too, but everyone who's well versed in the art of Yuri understands that doesn't mean anything as long as there's another girl who has chemistry with her.
But yeah, so that's what we got.
Sexual queen. I will point out to everybody who could never know this without me revealing. As I was writing notes, just before we started recording, I forgot that I didn't write anything about the homosexual subtext in the show, and so I just have in all caps "gay?" ? And no other notes other than that. So, normally this is one of my favorite things to talk about in shows like this, but I don't have much to say other than the Kurumi and Yuzu hold hands, and they grow a bond over time, and Lemone feels like she's being spurned, and that in its own right already is like in sort of a law of contrast, increasing the viability of Yuzu as bisexual. But yeah, if you're here for the LaCroix experience of faint gay undertones, and come along and join us on this.
Yeah, they accidentally packaged Yuri with the water, so you can kind of taste the Yuri, but it's still mostly water.
Tastes like lily blossoms. Let's see. I also say too that
I think that Kurumi is a good main character. She's very plain and very straightforward in terms of her writing, but the way she's animated and acted works great. She's goofy, and the little like cutaway and chibi gags they do with her, almost all of them landed for me, which I can't say about every show we've watched. So for whatever reason, maybe it's also that this show is sort of tepid to begin with, but I think she was a great protagonist to have.
Oh, she's so fun.
Yeah. Let's see. I think too that Yuzu's a good choice. Yuzu is basically Little Witch Academia's Diana Light, right?
Yeah, she's not as fun as Diana.
It's true. But in her sort of rehabilitation into a friendlier person, I think it's right that she's a more relaxed character by default. She's sort of prudish because she's sort of aspiring towards that elite notion that the Magami class is known for, and since she doesn't have that, then she's not really 100% sold on it, but she's trying to. So it's sort of like what's the thing people say? It's like wear the clothes for the job that you want to have. That thing. It's kind of like that. She's putting on airs, right? So she's not intense of a character as Diana is, but at the same time too, then that softness just kind of fits the show better. I think she would have felt out of place if she's more exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
And I also do like that then they get to have that role reversal where she's the one, egging on Kurumi to get back into magic and all that. Minami Sensei, oh god, she's fun. To overextend the marshmallow metaphor, she's like the flame that is toasting all the other characters into something a little bit more complex.
Because she's got a big hat.
She's got a huge hat.
Massive hat.
She's got a frog familiar, and it's so great. She's just so fun. I also have a fondness for her because we share like a teaching style. It's like she focuses a lot on fundamentals. She's going in there with the premise that talent is not a factor, and that it's about sort of finding how the discipline is relevant to you, and then that is how you sort of channel it or make something of it. So she gives people these very like down to earth sort of exercises, and then the magic coming out of it, is sort of a natural process of trying to find something intrinsically valuable, or thinking more broadly about how magic relates to their real world. And I love that. I think maybe the work that I do is more limited than that. It's definitely not like service project level and things like that, but where it's like a very open-ended, lenient sort of structure so that people can explore and discover things. Like, I dig that so much. I love it.
I think it's because you don't have a big hat.
Yeah, I think that's what I need.
I think if you went to class and you had a giant ass wizard hat, I think people would listen to you more.
Gonna write this down. So this is good stuff, right?
I have a wizard cloak that I wear sometimes to school, but when I wear it, I'm not me. I'm an evil warlock.
What's that?
And my kids keep telling me that it's me, and I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. Shut the hell up. I fool them all the time.
I really hope that for any kids who watch this show, that they come away from this with like a treating
appreciation of giant hats.
Yes. But also that Minami has sort of a Miss Frizzle sort of effect on people.
She does, and she's like 10.
Mm-hmm. She's so great.
Maybe.
Who knows?
We know very little about her. We know that she looks like one of Northern's friends from the past. So I don't know.
We'll need another season to figure more out. So something else. Near the very end of the show, she reveals that she actually held back Kurumi in order to have her as a student. The reason why she had such high aptitude and did so well on the test, but still did not get into the program, is because Minami Sensei wanted to have her as a student,
which is problematic, but also sweet.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing where like obviously that's not something I would do, nor would I have the power to do it. But I appreciate that they do something to make it so that she's not just kind of a 100% squeaky clean, like morally good kind of character. Like they give her a little bit of that questionable behavior, right? I dig that. It's I also like that she comes clean about it and talks to Kurumi about it in person at the very end. All of this is like, it's like the most still like soft, squeaky clean version you could have of a moral dilemma, but it's something. It really doesn't have an effect on things strongly, and Kurumi basically just says, it's fine, whatever. She gets over it very quick, but I think that's better than doing something that's overly dramatic. So
we also get the really sweet part where Yuzu goes to be a Megumi, the wizards, and Kurumi's like, yeah, I could have, but I'm gonna go do magic the way that Minami wants me to do. And I thought that was a fun little like departure from each other, where they're still going for the same thing but in different ways. That was fun. I liked that.
I agree. Just to summarize to a Northern, as sort of a flip side of this, I think that as a character,
his capybara leaves him, so he no longer can do whatever he wants.
I really agree with you that there's just not enough foreshadowing on his motivation for it to land really well. Like, again, I appreciate that they at least give us a little bit of backstory reason as to why he wants to basically suck the magic out of the hands of the working class and build a privilege system out of it, because he's taking sort of the wrong. Well, I say, in my opinion, he's going the wrong way about this, right? Where he's experiencing a systemic problem where he's not getting the support he needs to pursue his goals, and so he wants to, take that from someone else, because he feels entitled to it, or heck, I've met people who have gone through the whole grind set, who work their way up from nothing. And what they learned from that is that the grind set was the correct thing to do, In that vein, like, I think Northern makes for the right kind of villain for this show. The execution just doesn't have a lot of impact in the way it's paced and the way it's sort of played out. Maybe it gets more interesting later on in the novelization. Who knows if we'll find out. We have to see if they make a second season first, but if they make a second season, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'll just say the side characters are fun. They're extremely one note, but they still brighten things up.
Imagine if you had a cast of Danganronpa characters and none of them mattered.
Well, you're just describing Danganronpa. It's actually about the same ratio too.
Yeah.
But
that actually makes me think that this game probably would have made a pretty good like point and click visual novel.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Where you could go on little side quests and stuff.
I agree that Maki is like a really fun sort of sidekick.
Best friend.
Yeah.
Not Maki from Danganronpa.
It's true.
V3.
Yeah. I like that whereas like Kurumi has this sort of up and down experience with trying to learn magic, Maki comes in, she's like, I want to be a dancer. And then they're like, we don't have a dance club, but we have a tambourine dance club. And she's like, okay, I'll try that. And she's just like, I'm in. The rest of it, it's hard to see her without a tambourine. It's just funny. I love that at the very end, for their school festival project, their class decides to do this ridiculous Rube Goldberg machine, complete with like with a live performance that like is synchronized to it. It's so funny. It's like I could see high schoolers doing that kind of thing, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's that sort of like fuck it, we ball kind of mentality that is so fun to see students run with. Yeah. Moving right along, how about now we talk about just really quickly on things like the visuals.
They're pretty.
What do you think of how the show looks?
I kind of wish they do this little filter for flashbacks that make it kind of look like a storybook.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that was just always on. It really makes the characters pop a little bit more. But I might have changed it if it was like that, because maybe I'm like, oh, it's the storybook. Either way.
I agree with you. Like there were times where like it starts with it on, and we'd be like, "Whoa, it looks really good," and then it would exit the flashback or the introductory scene or whatever it is, and then it's back to normal, and we're like, "Oh, it doesn't look quite as interesting anymore." I don't know if I would have gotten tired of it, but I definitely didn't get tired of it while it was on. And it looks good. Like there are so many shows where they try to do some kind of visual filter or procedural effect over top of the animation, and it just looks terrible. Sketch lines are one of those that people they try to shortcut a lot. Art styles that have a lot of like thin hatching, for example, stuff like Berserk. And so like, okay, well, we'll just apply a 3D shader that we can apply this the lines to, and it won't be dynamic, but at least it's really efficient, and it always looks bad. So I think this is the first time I've actually felt like keep the filter on.
Yeah,
really wild. I also want to point out that picking green and yellow for the main standard uniforms is a bold choice. Because I feel like normally those are not easy colors to coordinate with. But the pastel coloring basically everywhere else, they somehow make it work. I really honestly think that they worked hard on making the visual design of the show mesh well. With the green outfits, when you have characters with like pink or red hair, that complements well with it. The blonde hair has the yellow accents on like the bows, and so like that works. For people with brown hair, that is a nice subtle contrast with the green. I'm shocked that from all the magical girl shows we've watched and all the anime with school uniforms in them, how often we come around to, wow, these uniforms look bad. Didn't come up in this one. At least I don't remember us ever having a problem with them. I certainly didn't. And that's kind of wild. So kudos, I guess. I also think I don't know, the fact that like the PE uniforms are red and that kind of matches with Asuka's red hair, and then like he's kind of the prominent side character out of that section of the show with his fashionista bit, and it's focused on him. The fact that he looks good in that outfit, I feel like that's intentional stuff, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's just kind of a wing it and it worked well for me kind of thing. But I really honestly think that this is a case where they put more effort and thought into it than a lot of people expect. I recently saw someone had been posting online about it's one of the anime adaptations of Fate. And it's the main character making fried rice, and they showed like the animation cell and how like they have to like for just one frame there's probably like a handful of different colors of bits of rice and veggies whatever in there that they have to track. And so you're looking at this and I'm going to send it to you right now and I'll just let you react to it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that where there's all the individual grains.
Like,
yeah,
that's fucked.
That's fucked.
Makes me remember how difficult animation is and the lengths that people will go to make something work. And so it makes something like this, where it seems effortless, I think that like becomes all the more meaningful to me as a result.
Mm-hmm.
How about those magic casting transitions?
Oh, they were fine. I think them being inconsistent with like what they were wearing was a choice. I mean, you can be like, oh, it was because of this is what they're looking at. It's like, yeah, I guess, but I kind of wish we got a little bit more consistencies because they were individually made.
Yeah,
right. Like there's one where she like throws up the wand and misses catching it and has to like readjust. I thought that was fun, but like they aren't wearing their outfits, and then they don't wear the fun wizard outfits outside of it. And I would have rather had one or the other.
Yeah, that one's a little bit of a strange decision, but yeah, I like that they have different variants of it. The fumble one especially is the one that got both of us pretty good. And then having them dual cast Kurumi and Yuzu is like that's a good
cute.
pop off kind of moment.
It's cute.
How about the opening and the ending? Because I know you have feelings about this.
The beginning of the opening always puts me off. The rest of it's fine, but the beginning of it is like a lot, and it's like bad, but like it's kind of bad on purpose. The rest of it's fine. The ending is not memorable because I don't remember it.
It's very forgettable. I mean, honestly, we didn't watch the ending very many times, but we also didn't because it wasn't that interesting the first time.
Yeah.
But I like the visuals in them. There's some cute details in there. In the ending, there's a cute shot where Mikana is like kind of like fluffing around with Lemone's hair, her big poofs.
Yeah,
that's cute. Themes. Are you ready for themes?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna learn Marshmallow.
Stop.
Sorry. This show is about hard work and social support and healthy lifestyle living, saying, hey, this is how you accomplish your goals. Don't overwork yourself. Take it easy. You gotta love what you're doing, and then that'll make it better. And don't, you can't just purely rely on talent. You can't just rely on technology. It is kind of funny that there is an accidental message that comes out of this, which is you won't always have a graphing calculator wherever you go, which is 100% wrong. But the sentiment does apply. I think probably you and I can both attest the fact that as technology drifts more and more into like let's make an app out of it, that technological literacy is kind of getting hurt by that. I have students that really don't know how to navigate folders, like they come into a college class and sometimes I have to explain how to unzip a folder, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I feel that, but it is also a funny sort of turnaround on how that actually kind of gets implemented in the show. I also like that thematically they're building a world that's kind of it's ours light, right? There's a lot of light parts of the show, but it relates in that the people who have the most privilege in our world got it by systemically and institutionally exploiting other people, right? Like they made the rules that then gave them what they wanted, right? It's a form of theft from the working class. Whether it's capital or authority or exceptional treatment, whatever it is, right? Like the fact that some people get it and some people don't is a constructed thing. And I like that the show does dig into that, even if it's, a very shallow step into it. For what is otherwise like a lighthearted show. I would expect it's kind of one of those things where someone many years from now will come back to it and look at it and be like, oh yeah, that was kind of forward thinking or progressive of it to do. And maybe in retrospect is like oh, I didn't know shows like this were doing that around this time. Let's see. I'll also say that thematically there's really nothing that's happening here that Little Witch Academia didn't already do better. I do think that the educational theory core is stronger in this one. Whereas Little Witch Academia is kind of reusing the exact same, grit and persistence method that they've had going since Gunbuster. And that version definitely has more punch, right? It's much more exciting to follow. But I appreciate that we have sort of a soft variant of that, right?
Yeah. I think Little Witch Academia really goes to show you that, wow, 24 episodes does make you care about the characters a little bit more.
Yeah.
It essentially, if you liked Little Witch Academia, give this a shot. I think, like, if you want more of that, this is fun.
Just get cozy with it, though. Don't expect that it's going to be in the same running, right? You could think of it as Little Witch Academia is in the Magumi class, and the stories of girls who couldn't be magicians is in the standard class, so to speak. But I think it benefits from having that, more generalization. A knock-on effect of all this is that this is not a show about exceptionalism, which I think Little Witch sometimes leans into that direction. Or maybe it's more so the Trigger contemporaries, right? Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on the show that you want to share, Grant?
No. I think I'm kind of vibing with the idea that it would make a really fun visual novel.
Yeah.
Like a point and click visual novel.
I agree with that. But until they go and make that, I guess we'll just have to go watch other shows and review them.
Do you have any hypotheticals?
I do. I have 2 of them. All right.
Let's hit this.
First, let's say you're taking Minami Sensei's final exam, and you have to create a spell. What kind of spell would you create, and how would you combine the elements to do it?
All right. I would make an instant camp spell. So you cast it. It uses the earth to make a little, like, a rock tent, or maybe two rock places to hang up a hammock. It ignites the leaves and sticks that it collects with fire, and then it provides you with some really good water to drink. And you just go smack, and you get a campsite.
That's cute. That's something I could see actually being in the show.
What would you do?
I don't know. Maybe like some way to do like air drawing with magic. Think of like when people have like a glowing stick and it's dark and they can trace it in the air. It'd be fun to be able to do a magic spell version of that where, like, I guess it would be like fire and wind, maybe? Or fire and air, I suppose. Yeah. So, I don't have any ambitious ideas, but that's the first thing that came to mind in terms of trying to do something like artistic and magical.
That'd be fun. I dig that. I like that idea.
All right. Well, time for you to have another idea.
Shit, I've had too many ideas today. I'm running out.
Well, shake them out, because this is the most predictable question we could possibly deliver here at the end. You can't say capybara. What kind of animal would your familiar be?
Oh, dude. I think having 2 black cats for the past year has really cemented that I love them. Even though they keep closing the door on each other, and then they get pissed because they can't leave or enter the room. They're both in here. Okay, we're good. They are very sweet. They are very, very fun. I like watching them chill and hang out. I don't mind most of their shenanigans. They have destroyed my floor in my rental apartment, which means I'll have to pay for that, and I think that it's worth it. So I would like them, and if I could magically connect with them so I can just take them everywhere, that would be fucking rad. So I'm gonna pick my 2 cats.
Awesome. I love that it was starting off with having had 2 cats. Really could have gone either way. As yes, I totally want a familiar, cats. Or no, I'll never have a cat familiar.
Or an owl, because I loved owls as a kid.
We forgot to bring up Huta.
Huta, he's an owl man. That's it.
It's precious. That's literally all that we can say about him. Cause
he's a little owl guy. Who would your familiar be?
Although I love rabbits, I don't think I would pick a rabbit, because I don't think they would like to have to follow me around. They're not great for picking up and holding either. They can't climb, so it's not like they can perch on my shoulder or hat or something.
But you can pull it out of your hat.
That is true.
You're either like, who's your familiar? You take off your wizard hat and you pull out the rabbit.
Yeah, but I can't imagine any situation in which a rabbit wouldn't just absolutely be pissed about that. Then again, rabbits are pissed about most things. So
even a magic rabbit.
But I think I'm gonna go with a koala. I loved koalas when I was a kid.
Ooh,
also think it would be funny that they have like sharp claws to be able to climb trees and stuff. And so I think there would be a good gag element that I'm just describing Brock from Pokemon
or James,
where like, oh, it's this cute creature that hangs around him. It's just also that it causes him extreme pain by doing so. Having it cling onto my arm.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. Well, I think that we've come to our conclusion.
A toast to this show.
Anything else.
And to another marshmallow.
Yeah. We'll come back with another show. I figured that there's no use in pointing to the stands when we don't even really know anymore.
We should probably go finish something that we started before.
Probably.
We got Milking Homes, we've got Yuri Kuma Anashi, we got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But that doesn't don't expect that necessarily one of those will be the next thing we do. At this rate, who knows?
It could be something completely out there. Thank you so very much for listening to us. If you want to hear us talk more, you can subscribe to our Twitch, where we are consistent with that. That thing we do a lot. You can go listen to us play video games and voice comic books. You can check out our older stuff if you like and argue with me in the comments. All you have to do is say, hey, I think you're wrong, and I'm going to be pissed. So you got that. But you don't need to do any of that, because we are not your dads.